Good morning, boys and girls. Another day, another daily read aloud coming at you live from Miss Lorenz's office. I'm sticking kind of with the theme this week in light of everything going on in the world, and it's, if you haven't caught on, kind of about treating people fairly, giving everybody equal opportunity, and standing up for what you believe is right. And so the book that I chose today still goes along with that kind of theme that we kind of have in mind, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. I always read this book to my kindergarten class because I think it's a great way to show them that, your voice counts, even if you're the smallest girl in the smallest grade. And I love the colors and the pictures in the story, but I think the message, like I've said before, is just so much more important, and I want to share it with you guys today. So, like I said, the story is called The Smallest Girl in the Smallest Grade, and it's written by Justin Roberts. Hardly anyone noticed young Sally McCabe. And there she is, just kind of hanging out. She was the smallest girl in the smallest grade. There she is behind her desk. You can hardly see her. So we can assume that she's in kindergarten, and she's pretty tiny, even for her age. Sure, her name could be heard in the daily roll call, and she marched with her books down the same school hall, but hardly anyone noticed young Sally McCabe. And they certainly didn't know, or at least didn't mention, that Sally was paying super extra special attention. Wonder what she's paying attention to. To the abandoned kite with the tangled string, to the 27 keys on the janitor's ring, to the leaves as they turned green to gold in the fall, to the time Tommy Torino was tripped in the hall. So she really does notice quite a bit. Very observant. She watched as the wildflowers tipped toward the light, and heard the howl of a hound dog late one night. She was there when the stray cats, who normally fought, conducted a meeting in the church parking lot. She saw Kevin McQueen get pushed off a slide, and the oncoming tears that he wanted to hide. It's not very kind. So far I've seen two really unkind things happen. The little boy got tripped, and now we have someone being pushed. You can tell it was on purpose. It wasn't a very nice thing to do. He kind of looks happy but angry at the same time. And he wants to cry. She said he's fighting back tears. And she'll never forget that parent-teacher day when Billy's much larger father suddenly dragged him away. But through all the mean words and all the cold stares, no one even noticed that Sally was there. And they certainly didn't know, or at least didn't mention, that Sally was paying super extra special attention. There's another unkind act, right? Looks like they're climbing on what we have at Kaylee we would probably call like the spider web. Climbing on that, and it looks like this little girl pushed this little boy off, and that is not nice at all. Very unkind. She'd seen how a whisper could make someone cower, like a bulldozer crushing through fields of wild flowers. And when they say cower, they mean like be scared, kind of like pull back and recoil. And it kept piling up, this discarded debris, those beautiful kites tangled in trees. So she's saying all these horrible feelings that these kids are feeling because of bullies and people that aren't being very nice, it's starting to build up. It's starting to cause anguish and pain, and people are starting to notice. She is definitely starting to notice. So on February 3rd at 11:29, Sally stepped straight out of the lunchroom line. Wonder why. She said, "I'm tired of seeing this terrible stuff. Stop hurting each other. This is enough." Now, a few laughed out loud or didn't care, but there was some girl with her hand in the air. But then something super extra special happened that day as Howard O. Henry suddenly set down his tray. Interesting. Like waves rolling in, one after another, first Molly rose up, then Michael's twin brother. It was Tyrone and Terrence, then Amanda and Paul, who pushed out their chairs and stretched their arms tall. From that friendly lunch lady with the dishes she carted, to that new third-grade teacher who had only recently started. Yes, everyone there, even Principal Claire, had joined little Sally with their fingers in the air. And though hound dogs were destined to howl at night, and most stray cat meetings would end up as fights, and kites would continue to get stuck in trees, they all felt, for a moment, like the janitor's keys, fastened together with a heavy steel ring that held all the secrets to unlock everything. As the world returned to the way that it was, Sally noticed the difference, as she usually does. When Billy paused briefly to open the door for Mrs. O'Connell and 17 more. Or when Molly scooched over to make some space on the coral riser for Ellen and Grace. These moments that often get taken for granted, a wildflower appearing that no one had planted. The swings soon resumed their rhythm and sway, and day turned to night, and night turned to day. People remembered, and would quite often mention, that Sally had been paying super extra special attention, and how the world could transform and a change could be made by the smallest girl in the smallest grade. And if you look at this playground scene at the ends of the book versus the playground scene that we saw at the very beginning of the book, you see a lot of things: fighting, pushing, shoving, mad faces, screaming, people just not being very kind in the beginning. And then after our friend Sally stood up, look at how everyone else's body language changed. They're playing, they're getting people involved, they're not fighting over things, they're taking turns. I feel like she made a difference. The end. So, I love this story because I think it sends a really important message to kindergartners, but also to people of all grades, ages, and levels, that regardless of what's going on, if you pay super extra special attention, you will notice things that are going to upset you, right? You're going to notice that some people are not doing the right thing, they're not making the right choices, they're not being kind, and it's our job as people that are paying super extra special attention to stand up and point out what's blatantly wrong or disrespectful or unkind. Stand up to the bullies, stand up to the people who are not treating others fairly or equal. And that's what our friend Sally did in the story. And she changed an entire school, right? She stood up, just raised her hand in the air and said, you know, this has to stop. Enough is enough. We're not being kind to each other. We're hurting each other. It's causing pain. Everyone's upset. We need to stop. And slowly, everyone else started to really understand and recognize that too. And this counts for anything, right? It can be with people, it can be with our environment. Whenever you see something that you think is not fair, not right, or unjust, it's our duty as citizens of the world to stand up and use our voice, because that's what really matters, right? So I love Sally. I think she's awesome. I think she sends a really good message to young readers and maybe even some adults, that standing up for what you believe in and what you know in your heart is the right thing to do, I think is a wonderful lesson at any age. So for your book challenge today, think about something that you've seen. Maybe you saw trash thrown at the park. Maybe you saw somebody being treated unfairly. Maybe you saw someone get hurt, like pushed or shoved. What did you do to help? Or what are you going to do to help? What's your course of action? So for your book challenge today, write a little passage about what you saw and how you're going to take action to stand up against that. And then draw a picture to match. And I hope you guys really enjoyed the story. I know I definitely did. It's going to continue to be one of my favorites. Me and my girl Sally, we go way back. So I hope you guys love it, and I can't wait to read to you another story tomorrow. I'll see you back here then, okay? Have a great one, guys. Thanks again for stopping by.